Welcome to the Get Fully Funded channel. I'm Sandy Reese, Chief Encouragement Officer here at Get Fully Funded, where we help small nonprofits learn to raise the money they need to fully fund their budget. I am here to help you master the art and science of fundraising tip by tip, and I've got a really good one for you today. But first, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that every time we upload a new piece of content, you're the first one to know. All right, let's get to this week's tip. You may have heard the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and it definitely applies to fundraising. Here's what I mean by that. You don't ever want to be dependent on one grant, one donor, one event, or one single source of revenue to operate your whole organization on, because if that one source goes away, you've got big problems, and it can be very difficult, if not impossible, to recover from. Over the past 17 years or so, we've gotten about 3 phone calls from organizations in a panic because they were living on one grant or one source, and that one source went away. I remember distinctly the day that I got a call from one organization in particular who said they had been receiving a large grant from the state of Tennessee. The state had reduced their budget that year, and that grant had been cut. They were starting from scratch to raise money and needed help. And I said, okay, how much are we talking about? And they said $750,000. That was a huge problem. They didn't have any reserve built up. They had not worked on any fundraising, didn't have a donor base, barely had a website, and were out of ideas on ways to go from 0 to 750 in like a month. It was almost impossible. Almost impossible. And I don't want that to be your situation. So here's what you do. You create diversified revenue streams. You make sure that you have money coming in from lots of different sources so that you can create stability for your organization for now and into the future. The best way that I like to have a look at this is to create a pie chart. I call it a fundraising pie. And look at broad stroke categories of funding like grants, events, appeals, monthly giving, online giving, major donors, general donations, and anything else that applies to your situation. Go grab your numbers from last year and put them in those broad stroke categories and then create a pie chart. And you're going to see really fast which ones of your pieces of pie are way too big. You really don't want any single piece of pie being more than about 30 to 40%. If it gets up toward 40%, you're getting into the danger zone there. So you don't want any one grant, to be more than about 20% of your total revenue. That's dangerous. Grants are hard to renew every year unless they're coming from a family foundation that has told you, we love you, we're going to fund you every year, don't worry about it. It's not a given that they're going to renew every year. Likewise, you don't want any one event being that big. I remember working on an event as a volunteer with an organization many years ago, and we were so proud. We've built that event to be over $100,000. That was great. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, danger, Will Robinson, because the organization's budget, the total budget, was about $230,000. And I'm thinking, oh, this is bad, because this event, while crazy successful, was over 50% or close to 50% of the organization's total revenue. And what that meant was that was great while the event was going on. But then you know what happened like a couple of years later? COVID. COVID happened. What happened to that event? It went away. And so that was very, very hard to recover from and to manage in that situation. So be very careful about that. Go create your own fundraising pie based on your numbers from last year. Have a look and see which ones of your pieces are super big. Now, here's what you don't have to do. You don't have to say, oh, well, we don't want that piece of the pie to be that big, so we're going to back off. Don't worry about that. Let that piece continue to be what it is, but work on building up some of the other pieces of pie, because when you work on building up some of those others, then that one piece that's so big, it will naturally decrease as other slices increase. That's just how pie charts work. So go take a look at yours, see where you are in danger of having a little too much revenue from a single source, and then look at where you can strengthen other streams so you can have diversified revenue and a stable financial base to work from. If you like this video, there's plenty more where this one came from. Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so that every time we add a new tip, you're the first to find out. I don't want you to miss a single thing.